name is Wilhelm Hertle. I am a retired pastor. I am the son of the missionary couple Wilhelm Hertle and Hedwig Hertle. My father was the first Lutheran missionary to enter the Beeru area, and I am here to tell you the story. This is part 3 of 15 parts of a YouTube series. This one is called Ready for the Race.
The year 1959 saw great changes in Yalibu. One day, the district officer for education from Mendi arrived for school inspection without notice. He found 2 newly erected permanent school buildings on the premises and was highly pleased to see such sturdy school buildings, and he praised the diligent and tidy Germans.
Luckily, my father had torn down the rumbles of the old building and cleaned the site just 2 days before he arrived. When he left, my parents smiled. Just pure luck.
But there was more to be seen. The new teacher's house was finished. Apart from that, the congregation members had erected a new church which they financed by offering free labor and materials. When it was dedicated, about 600 people were present to witness the ceremonies, including many of the Wirus, and besides, a new house for women's work was ready to be opened for operation.
At the same time, the presiding bishop of a Lutheran church, Dr. Kuda, arrived. When he saw the stacks of cut timber, he advised my father to build a permanent missionary's house, particularly because a few days before, the house of the evangelist had caught fire and burnt down in less than 10 minutes.
After searching for a carpenter, Mr. Batze from the coast took over the construction of the house. He had learned his trade from my grandfather in pre-war times. Here a picture showing my grandfather with the Batze boys. In September, the Yalibu area suffered a severe frost, causing a total loss of many sweet potato gardens. This would eventually cause a food shortage until the new crops would be ready.
In November, an incident occurred that stopped plans for a likely opening of the Wiru area in 1960. The Bible mission wanted to erect a supply house right beside our outpost station on the road leading to Wiru.
When my father heard about it, he took the station evangelist with him and hurried to the site. He found 2 young lads and 2 ladies in the hut. They said they were here to do pioneering. My father told them bluntly that this was no place for pioneering, as they were sitting right in the middle of our already established mission outstation. Our evangelist, who had been placed there, had thought they were members of our mission. So the young people decided to move further and entered the restricted area, which was not permitted. When the district officer heard about the case, he was angry and decided not to open the Wiru area at the beginning of the year, as he had originally planned to do so. So the opening was postponed to a later date.
At the same time, an influenza epidemic swept through the Wiru area. The government made a patrol and included a medical official. The census taken revealed that the population of the total area was about 11,000. The fatal cases of the epidemic was about 500. So this is almost 5% of the total population. Unfortunately, the people were too far away to receive medical treatment. Maybe they were too deeply connected with their traditional beliefs to realize that medical treatment would help them. Due to the epidemic, the road building program was not able to be carried on as planned. The reason was there was not enough manpower.
My father realized it would not be long before the new area would be opened. He therefore made an application to the annual conference in Wau to appoint a successor to take his place when he would move into the new area. He wanted to be ready when day 0 came. The conference acted quickly on his request. On the 25th of January 1960, it appointed Reverend Eckhard Weber to be the new missionary in Yalibu. On the 7th of February 1960, Reverend Eckhard Weber arrived in Yalibu and celebrated his birthday a day later. He moved into the aluminium house of Reverend Shake. In the meantime, my mother had chosen 2 Yalibu girls to do her household work. She met them in Sunday school, and she said they were the nicest girls she had ever met. The names of the 2 girls were Adlembo and Ietab. The 2 boys, who had done the work previously, were now in puberty and courting girls in the traditional ceremony of turning heads. Yoga promised to assist my father when he would arrive in Wiru, and he held his promise and later became one of the closest co-workers of my father.
In March 1960, my father wrote a letter saying that he expected the Beeru area to be opened at the end of the year. I think he had this in mind when he started to get ready to enter the Wiru area. He noticed that the Bible mission had contacts to the north, whereas his contacts were to the south. For this reason, he wanted to make an agreement that the Bible mission would concentrate on the north, while he would go to the south. The Wirus had invited him to their villages, but had told him to be sure that he should be the first one to arrive. So my father had no other choice than try to be the first one. For this reason, he wrote,
"It seems like we will have to try to be the first to occupy all places before others arrive." So months before the Wiru area was opened, my father had already laid down his strategy for entering the area. He would have to try to be the first. He then visited the outstations Mondanda and Tindua together with Reverend Weber. It took them 3 hours to walk the distance. From Tindua, they had a very good view over the Wiru area, which looked like a fertile, promising land flowing with milk and honey. On the 25th of September, the Yalibu station was handed over to Reverend Eckhard Weber. After handing over the station to his co-worker, my father was ready to concentrate on the work in Wiru. In September, my father built himself a small hut in Tindua and stayed there for some weeks to learn the language. His main object for building this hut was to transfer household goods to Tindua, which they could later on carry over to Tiripini. This would make a much easier work in transporting goods from Yalibu to Tiripini. But he was not able to do so because things developed so suddenly. He was wise enough to deposit enough lip-lip or kina shells there, which he would need to pay for the stations he was intending to open in the Wiru area. On his way to Tindua, he noticed that the road was nearly finished. There was only a short distance of about 12 minutes walking distance to be completed. On the 25th of October, my father came back from Tindua and told my mother that he had bought a place for a station in one of the villages. As a result, he learned that those villages had been opened long time ago when Wabi was opened, and he could have been there for a long time. But now it was too late. He was standing at the threshold of a new era. What then followed can only be described as the local race of the century, and will go down in local history as one of the most remarkable races in the region. This was part 3 of a series of 15 YouTube videos on the beginning of a Tiripini circuit. Join me with number 4, the race.